We're just gonna talk about the Beatles.
Hello and welcome to Screw It. We're just going to talk about the Beatles. This is the podcast where we do just that. We talk about the Beatles. Look, we get stuff wrong, we leave stuff out, but we love the band. And if you're listening, you do too. We got early giggles from the panel. I don't know why.
You seem so tired.
Do I?
Yeah. But it's not a bad thing. No.
Should I do it over?
No.
Screw it.
It's just
in there
a
now.
man who's done this intro a lot. That's all.
So, okay, screw it. We're just going to talk about the Beatles, I guess. And, you know, the fucking drill. And sorry for the early F-bomb. So this episode, we're at the panel. We're going to do a special thing called, I think I'm going to call it Beatles Games. And I'll explain it in a second. But before I get to the rules of today, let's introduce the panel. I'm your host, for heaven's sakes. My name is Will Hines. We don't need a pun or anything, guys. We just have to introduce ourselves.
I'm Joel Spence.
I'm Katie Plattner.
I'm Regrettably.
Oh!
Naked.
Nice, dude. No one can Google you.
No, I Will Hines.
Your mother should Joel.
She came in through the Plattner window.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Wow. The best puns we've done.
We might want to end the episode right there.
Yeah.
That we played all the games. There we go.
We might have peaked. So what we're doing this week is we're doing like games. I have a baseball hat. I'm showing it to the panel over our
Confirmed.
Zoom. And
is there anything on the front of the hat? What kind of hat is this?
It's a Boston Red Sox hat for no reason. It's
B for Beatles.
B for Beatles.
It's a child size. It's a child size 7. Baseball hat.
Because you're kind of a regular sized person, but your head is fucking tiny.
Yeah, I got a little tiny head. Little tiny noggin.
One of those infant caps.
The little baby helmets?
Yeah. Yeah. You eat ice cream out of.
Yeah, I ate ice cream out of it, flipped it on my head, and it's like, this works for me. And I've been wearing it ever since. So Beatles games are like F, Marry, Kill is a game that you know. That's one of the games in this hat.
Yeah,
I know, but
he
I feel like
apologized.
I feel like I should. I tried to do less F-bombs in my life in general.
Yeah.
So
Felch, marry, kill.
yeah, who would you felch?
Is it a transitive verb like that?
I'm absolutely fine with that.
Do you felch someone?
Listeners, get back to us on this.
Yes, I think it is.
I'm not a. I think it's a regular verb.
You mean it's not
It's a regular verb.
Do you think it's a noun?
No, it's a verb. I'm saying, is it a transitive verb that has a direct object?
I think yes.
Okay.
There's a subject and an object in a felch. I
felched the shit out of Ringo kind of thing. Does that work?
I don't think. I think shit is redundant.
Well,
Off the rails.
Okay.
This is
Hold
already
on.
our strangest episode. I can't believe how weird this has gotten.
If you weren't avoiding those F-bombs, this never would happen.
I know.
I attempted it. It's my fault.
I've been on Zoom probably like 45 hours this week. So
yeah, I've just been on Zoom for 2 hours before this, so I'm fried.
You're crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to pull a thing out of the hat, and then I'll read what the game is. I'll say what the rules of the game are, and we'll play it. And these are sort of like Beatle hypothetical questions mostly. It may turn out that the mechanism of paper and a hat was unnecessary for this episode, but we're gonna stick with it. So I've just pulled the first paper, and it's
a coupon for CVS.
This is unrelated to the game. It's a coupon for CVS. I gotta go use this. No, it's listener question. That's our first category. So one of the categories is we asked our Facebook group to contribute questions, and so we're gonna answer. We're going to give our answer to the listener question.
First of all, thank you guys for responding to that today. We will not be able to get to all the questions, even though some of them are great. But the first one is from Cody Pennock. Favorite and least favorite album cover. And we're talking about the physical cover.
That's very fun.
Not the cover of a song.
That's extremely fun.
Revolver for me.
Is the most favorite?
That's my most favorite.
Well, that's not question, it's choices.
I was just making sure.
Wait.
Just making sure.
Oh, gotcha. This is a safe space, but that was a crazy choice.
No, I could really see it either way. I'm gonna say my most favorite is With the Beatles. Like the shadowed faces is my favorite. And my
With
least
their
favorite
floating
is
heads.
floating. It's just iconic and it's beautiful and it's got style. And I'm just saying my least favorite, it's not even that it's so bad, but it's Beatles for Sale because it's kind of nothing. It's kind of like just a photo of them.
Yeah.
It looks like a band's like MySpace photo.
Yeah, so and I don't totally mind it, but compared to some of their other ones, that's going to be my least favorite.
Brett, go for it.
Oh yeah. So I think Revolver's my favorite, and I think it's a toss up between, maybe like Let It Be, or
Right.
possibly Magical Mystery Tour. Like looking at it back, it's like really cheap looking, but in a way, I guess I like that. Let It Be seems like an afterthought to me.
Yeah.
Even though it's become iconic, of course, because everything they do is iconic.
That's
But
true.
when
That's
you-
what we're fighting this entire time.
Well, when you
Yeah.
peel that back, it's just sort of 4 unrelated pictures of them.
I think
Kinda-
too it feels against the concept of the album because it's 4 individual pictures like not taken at the same time. They're not in the frame together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like if the point was we're going to get together and just play as a band, I feel like
Yes.
you could like if there were like a cool picture of them during the rooftop concert or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the cover.
But I do think people talk about that one as actually symbolically perfect because of the divide that was between them in
Yeah.
not on purpose. Maybe it was. I don't know. But
Yeah.
it actually does.
It's like inadvertently truthful.
Yeah.
Here's my hot take. My least favorite of the like quote unquote good covers is Sgt. Pepper's.
Really?
Yeah, like I'm not psyched about the Sgt. Pepper's cover.
Yeah.
I know that I'm committing an ultimate sacrilege, but like Abbey Road is sort of beautiful and I love the minimalism of the White Album, and
I think that whole album actually exists in that plane of just sort of it's iconic and it's great, but is it my favorite?
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Katie, what do you think, Katie?
I think my favorite. I don't know what my favorite is. Like, for some reason, I'm very attached
Two
to
versions?
the.
Two
Yeah,
versions?
yeah. I want the one with a dick on it. No, I don't. But I don't know if it's just because of like particular memories of the CDs. Like I had all of them, but for some reason, the 2 I super remember are Help and Hard Day's Night. Like looking at those covers a lot.
Yeah.
And so I kind of think it's between those for me for favorite. I think least favorite for me is maybe Please Please Me.
Oh, interesting.
Just it's not bad, but I think it's just like it looks like here's a fun photo that they took for the newspaper, and it's
Yeah.
like it feels less stylized than the others, like or like less designed, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think the only reason I like that cover is because they did the revisit of it
Yeah.
on the, the Red Album, the greatest hits album that Alan Klein put together. The front of it is that Please Please Me cover, and then the reverse is a picture I think they took for the Get Back sessions where they recreated it, but in their super hairy beards mode.
Yeah.
And comparing and contrasting those is really fun, and it makes me retroactively love the Please Please Me cover. But if it wasn't for that later revisit, I probably wouldn't give 2 fucks about that album.
I'm with you, Will, with the Beatles. I think that might be my favorite just in execution, concept, and just what it evokes.
Yeah.
That is an
And-
incredible cover.
I think maybe this is a hot take on the least favorite, and this is just coming to me now. Maybe it's because I want to be different, but A Hard Day's Night, I think,
What?
is a phoned-in cover.
What?
Whoa.
Joe!
Now, unless I've got it wrong, it's a picture. It's like the montage of them making faces.
Yeah.
Yes, for the cameras, the
Yeah.
little shot where like they're all just making different faces for the press photographer, for the press hitting
Yes. Yeah.
whatever that is. I am tired.
I might be insane.
I like the hot take though. I like the hot take. You're going to help this podcast numbers. You know what I mean? You're going to be like the Beatles shock jock. All right, so
Nobody said the White Album, which is, I mean, of course, it's
I
like
was
a
tempted.
statement, but it is funny to think of it
Yeah.
without
You can
any
make-
context that wouldn't be anyone's least favorite.
Right.
You can make an argument for it either way, I think. Like most favorite for being so bold, but also like least favorite for being the complete absence of a choice.
I feel like if somebody chose it for either extreme, my reaction would be like, come on. Like, that's your favorite, right? Like, yeah, it's not there's nothing bad about it.
It only looks good in your collection of Beatles albums. Like it stands out.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, that was our first game. Hey, we just did our first Beatles game, such as it was.
Who won?
I did.
I think Joel won. Okay, so here's the next one. It's the Beatles of X.
Ah, yes.
So we're going to pick a thing and say what the Beatles of that thing is. I'm going to go, I'll go first. Oh, mine are boring. Okay. What do you think the Beatles of television is?
Like television shows?
Television shows. What is the Beatles of television shows?
I have idea. Mine are maybe a little bit more comedy specific.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, it's easy to just say Monty Python because.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's a direct.
And I think it's a similar the people who performed it are the same people who wrote it. And it's like this core group. And then you kind of know all of them individually. And then they all have solo careers after, kind of. I mean, it doesn't map out exactly, but I feel like...
No, it's pretty close.
But in terms of sitcoms, I was going to say I was real torn between Seinfeld and The Simpsons.
Yeah, I was going to say Simpsons and Seinfeld. It's just like those are my only choice for my lifetime. It's just like you can't
in terms of like influence and like
in terms of just like dominating influence that still seems like the best for me. Like it doesn't seem and it seems like everything after shifted towards that. Like it was just the forever like reigning champions of what they do.
Or I think I was having kind of why I was going between them is I feel like Seinfeld, for one, that there's like a core 4 characters and that's
the quartet makes it very Beatlesy.
But that also like Jerry and Larry David write it and perform on it. I mean, Jerry more, but Larry David's on it. But and then it's kind of like they elevated a genre, or you know what I mean? Like
I know what
did
you're saying.
something with it that people didn't think you could do.
There's a Lennon-McCartney dynamic in the writing between Jerry and Larry. That's interesting.
But then The Simpsons is also, in terms of influence, is just like how many adult animation shows are there now? And there just were 0. Like people didn't know you could do that. So I don't know.
Even just the style of rapid fire humor. And I don't know. To me, I just see like Simpsons everywhere. After The Simpsons, like even in just people, like anyone who grew up with them, that just sort of is your sense of humor in some ways. Like it's just so informative. Mm-hmm. And then there's the whole thing of The Simpsons did it for like, you can almost pick anything. And there's an iconic Simpsons moment where they did that joke, like they did that bit. And it just seems like that's that kind of Beatles dynamic for me, where it's like,
oh yeah, they created heavy, like Beatles created heavy metal with Helter
exactly.
Skelter.
You're like, oh yeah, it turns out they did. You know, you'd almost forget they like invented a whole thing, and they just like rattled that off for like one episode.
Yeah,
and Simpsons too, just as a thing that like a lot of people grew up with loving it, and their parents were mad at it. You know, like I don't think there's maybe an analog of young people liking Seinfeld and their parents thinking like you shouldn't be allowed to watch this. Or anything.
And then do the Bartman is like the Mr. Moonlight of The Simpsons. Is that what we're thinking? Like sort of the regrettable.
Oh,
yes.
That's actually, I think because there's so much Simpsons like merchandise or licensed stuff that I think it maybe is analogous to the Beatles in terms of you would have like a general cultural awareness of it or know all the characters' names, even if you haven't watched the show. And I think people are like that with the Beatles. Seinfeld is also very popular, but
that's definitely actually Will. Like, I think that is analogous to the Beatlemania phase. Like the early Simpsons was such a huge pop culture thing among kids
Yeah.
There was the Bart shirt, and there was, I
Yeah.
Carumba and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like,
don't have a cow, man.
don't have a cow,
Okay.
man. Like that early Simpsons was this huge, just fad kind of thing before the sort of depth of it like sunk in to where like my dad was equally as obsessed with it as I was.
I'm going to add to this too.
Your dad, Paul McCartney, or your real dad? Bringing back a bit from 2 episodes ago, everybody. All right. Sorry, Joel.
Now you walked over my beds. Two Broke Girls was my suggestion, but my actual one is there was actually a couple, and I agree with you on Simpsons definitely, but SNL might be my choice because of the
that's interesting.
same impact, and SNL is definitely had some flawed, and the reputation actually is now that it's everybody says I used to watch it and I don't anymore, but people still watch that show.
Yeah.
And particularly on the early impact, like you were saying, Katie and Brett, and I guess Will too, that it exploded and everybody was talking about it. Yeah. And also it was an age, like The Simpsons was, it was a very specific, it had very specific appeal to a certain generation at the beginning that it still reverberates. And also like The Simpsons, it launched sketch again in TV and influence.
Yeah, it definitely has that quality when you look at certain casts, like the original cast and a lot of the early ones where you're like, it has that Beatles quality where like all of those people were in one thing together.
And it had that coolness and
like,
it had that mass appeal sometimes at the same time, like The Simpsons does as well.
I think SNL or The Simpsons, like part of what makes it really hard to compare is that like those are both still going.
Yeah.
Like, I think, I mean, Seinfeld has 9 seasons.
And Monty Python's a better analog in that way because they sort of had a short, high quality run and then ended.
And their influence was huge. Yeah.
And they're British.
Yeah.
What?
My answer is the worst answer.
Two Broke Girls?
I was going to say Two Broke Girls. I feel like that's the Beatles of television. I was going to say All in the Family.
Oh, okay.
because it was like the filmed in front of a live audience. A play was like a template forever for so many shows. And mostly for influence. Like it was a thing that everybody copied for like 15 years. Just like, the person comes in and everybody claps. Like when you're making fun of sitcom tropes, you're making fun of All in the Family, basically. But it's kind of lame.
Oh, I'd like to.
No, that makes sense.
No, yeah.
I'd like to amend my answer. The Beatles of TV was the Monkees.
I also was going to say South Park, but I think Simpsons is everything South Park was, but kind of popularity-wise bigger.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's go on to the. Oh, should we? Do you guys want to do Beatles of X's for all of us, or should we go on to another game and then come back to Beatles of X?
We can. I'm fine moving on. I don't have any other good.
I have a
ones.
bunch of Beatles of X.
Me too. Yeah, we can
Categories
come
if we
circle
want.
back, or what do you think?
Sure.
Let's circle back.
Yeah.
Let's do a couple now. Let's do a couple now. Brett, give us a Beatles of X.
Okay. These range from like incredibly stupid and just personal thoughts and maybe real discussions.
That might be what we need.
Okay. How about the Beatles of running shoes? I think
I'm out.
it's Nike, right? It's Nike or Air Jordans. Air
to
Jordans.
me, it's New Balance.
Whoa, we got difference of opinion immediately.
Why New Balance?
Katie.
Yeah. Oh, I was just going to say that one of mine that I wrote down is what's the Beatles of board games. So I think that
good.
I'm on an analogous
I've
similarly
got fast food.
impossible. Ooh.
What would you say, Joel?
I said that's another topic. The Beatles of fast food.
Oh, I have thoughts on that.
All right, go.
All right, let's go for all these. I'm gonna first come out. Why New Balance for the Beatles of sneakers?
I think New Balance is I think they came first. I'm pretty sure it feels like a more classic.
I don't know.
Shoe. I think boomers love them. It's less like trendy, fad, more just like a classic. It's still like the best running shoe, I think, or like it's always top.
It's a well-made quality, shoe,
very well-made quality. Like it's minimalist. It's like, but if you wanted to, you could find some wild New Balances that you forgot about. Yeah.
I think, maybe that works too because it's like,
And I think
'Cause
white people overrate them. Like, like maybe that's my angle.
yeah, there you go.
All right, now let's do Katie's board games.
Oh, well, here's the thing is when I said it, I was thinking particularly of like European style board games that are popular now. And so in my head, I was like, it's Settlers of Catan. That was what broke through. That got everybody. Then like,
I think you're right. Of that generation of games, that's got to be it. Like, if it's not that, it's going to be something earlier, like Monopoly or whatever. Of like,
yeah, and Monopoly sucks. So I don't want it to be the Beatles.
I guess Monopoly would be like the old standards of the 50s that sounded lame once you got Settlers of Catan or something like that. You know what I mean? Like a schmaltzy, like a schmaltzy, like guy, 45-year-old guy being like, "Hey there, little girl." Right. Like that's like
that's
Monopoly.
Definitely Monopoly.
Yeah.
Hey there, little
And then,
gal.
and then Settlers of Catan is like, "She loves you" or whatever. It's like, oh, this can be good or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys have any input on the
I'm not so
Beatles
schooled
of
on board
games?
games. Yeah, I think that's why or running shoes. I was going to say Nike just because of how
Iconic
flawed
it is.
and iconic and widely known it is. And flawed meaning they've had their periods of like controversy for sure. But it's also a homegrown company up in Oregon, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know enough about this to comment.
And Nike's been dead since 1968, but nobody will admit it.
Right. How about the Beatles of bodily functions?
Wait, we have to do fast food first, then we'll get to bodily
yeah.
function. Joel said fast food.
Can we eat first, Brett, before we go there?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
We'll do
Order you
fast
do,
food
man.
and then bodily functions.
Okay.
Fast
Now,
food.
instinctively, initially I was like, well, of course it's McDonald's, but because of just like everybody knows it. But I don't want McDonald's to be the Beatles.
Yeah, the Beatles are better than McDonald's because there might be. We need something that's as popular as McDonald's, but as good as like Wendy's.
I think it's Jack in the Box.
Jack in the Box.
Those aren't everywhere.
I think the Beatles. But hear me out. If you look at the menu of Jack in the Box, it's like fucking everything.
It's all over the
has
place.
Everything.
That's true.
Their tacos
like-
are good.
It has
Their tacos are good.
Yeah, if you can go back to Jack in the Box for basically all of your needs, like
So the Jack in the Box that just proves my point that when the Jack in the Box does a cover like tacos,
yeah,
they elevate it in some
good.
way. They do it their own way.
Right.
It's not a taco. It's not Johnny Be Good by Chuck Berry. It's the Beatles
right.
Johnny Be Good.
They know their range and they somehow kill it.
But you're right that Katie, that Jack in the Box isn't all over the world.
I feel like
It's not even all over the U.S.
Yeah, it's a regional
part
thing
of
still.
Yeah.
But In-N-Out. Like I feel like In-N-Out has the quality that I'm looking for a Beatles fast food place. I know it's West Coast.
I think In-N-Out is like
The Kinks or something.
Why can't I think of it? What am I trying to say?
Radiohead. Frank Sinatra.
Velvet Underground.
In-N-Out's Velvet Underground. Wow.
Because I think that's like
because they're more niche and they're not as well known.
Yeah, like people knew about it and whatever, and like now it's known for being really good and people like respect it, but it's not everywhere. Not everybody knows. You know what I mean?
What about KFC?
Oh, it's interesting. It's a white person co-opting black culture. I like that. Let's see. It's
it is worldwide. KFC is worldwide.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's like really, you're never unhappy with some KFC.
It's a very interesting pick. I might put Jack in the Box in the Kinks category now.
Yeah,
I think that
Kind of like
that's good.
because it's like it is like wildly diverse. The menu is wildly diverse.
Yeah.
And it's you kind of always forget about it a little bit, and then you
The
go
brothers
back
who
and
own
like,
it are at each other's throats constantly.
Yeah,
I was going to say
Yeah.
the Jack popping out of the box replicates the violence between the Davis
Yeah.
brothers. Yeah.
And Jack in the Box, it's like trans positive icon, the same way Lola is a trans, like somebody coming out of a box and celebrating their true
And it did-
identity.
And their tacos are good.
And you can get like a pita there, but also a sourdough like burger or whatever. I mean, it's like insane. But they did have that like health thing in the 90s, right? They had like an E. coli.
Yeah, there was also rumors that they used horse meat. I remember as a child, but I don't know.
So that's like the Kinks, coming to America and getting banned.
Getting screwed.
They got screwed out of their first tour or whatever. All right, I'm happy with that pick.
Okay, let's do bodily functions.
So we
just solved the
all,
Kinks.
Yeah, we didn't find out what's the Beatles.
We did find out what the kinks of fast food is. That's all that matters, I think. Let's go on to bodily functions. What are the Beatles of bodily function?
Well, let's list the bodily functions first.
Breathing, that's up there.
Breathing might be rhythm and blues.
My pick was the sneeze fart combination. That's the Beatles of bodily function.
That's the Beatles? Shit, what's the Rolling Stones then?
I really just worked backwards. I don't know what the Rolling Stones. Yeah, I don't know what the Stones is.
I'll go with breathing with you, Katie. I'll go with breathing.
Okay. I'm going to say the Beatles are like a great sneeze.
Without the fart.
Without the fart. Just like a terrific sneeze. Now you're right. You got to have the fart. No, it's a sneeze fart. I'm with Brett.
There's always a B-side.
Well, the fart is McCartney and the sneeze is Lennon, and like together they just make this combination.
Yeah. And then if you shart a bit, I guess that's the Stones or something. I don't know. That feels mean to the Stones.
It's if you're trying to do the Beatles and then you shart, that's what the Stones were doing.
Yeah. It's a
Part of this
wannabe
episode,
sneeze fart.
We're going to be learning how to do these games this whole episode. Like by the end of it, we'll know what we're doing.
The Beach Boys is when you like hiccup and swallow at the same time.
Why?
Have you ever done that? It hurts.
Yeah, it hurts.
Yes, the Beach Boys.
Just like the
I was
Beach
going to say the Beach Boys is like when you have like a booger slightly askew in your nose so that like when you breathe, it's got harmony. Like it's like just a simple exhale has like a
Is that a function or a bodily accident?
That's really good.
I think it's a phenomenon, just like Brian Wilson.
Yeah, you're right.
Beach Boys is like maybe like if you're sweating, you're like too hot, but then a nice breeze comes and the sweat is like cooling you down.
Who's that?
What's that?
That's the Beach Boys for me. Maybe.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
What's
On theme as well.
What's just a really a really relieving just urination? What would that? Who would that be?
I mean, that's
You just gotta go.
That's like John Denver, I think, or Jim Croce. Just like comfort, a guilty pleasure, comfort. Just like God, this feels good.
Well,
I'm not going to tell anybody, but I love this.
Or like a Pink Floyd like instrumental.
Oh, that's a cum.
Oh, wait.
And a cum when you fart, that's a Blue Oyster Cult.
Wow, you hold them high up there.
Don't fear the Reaper, bro.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Good God.
I think this might be all downhill from here,
good.
but okay, this is Would You Rather. We have to come up with a Beatles-related Would You Rather.
Okay.
Does anybody have any?
Yeah, I've got
Yes.
All right.
Go for it, Katie.
Okay.
Or would
I'll
you
do
rather
this one
I
first. I go. I choose. I go.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you rather? This is a desert island situation.
Okay.
Would you rather have the full solo Beatles catalogs but no Beatles music, or would you rather have 2 Beatles albums and no solo music?
This is easy.
Easy for me. 2 Beatles albums.
2 Beatles.
Which ones? Brett,
Oh,
also
God
what
damn
do you
it.
think?
I'm
Yeah, I
ready to
guess
answer.
2
Ready to
Beatles. I guess
answer.
2 Beatles, but that does bum me out. Like I am not.
That's the would you rather dilemma, right?
Yeah, I'm not totally
Well-
happy. It's not that easy for me. I do
'Cause-
really love some of the solo stuff.
Yeah.
And part of the deal, too, is if you have all of the solo stuff, that's just like a ton more songs that you
Yeah.
have to cycle through for the rest of your life on a desert island versus the same, 20 to 30.
I'm going to go 2 Beatles albums, and I'm going to do White Album and Abbey Road.
Those are the 2 I would take, too.
Because of the value?
Well, I think they hold up the best, and there's some, the White Album gives you variety. Rubber Soul was my alt pick, but I think I would get the least tired of the White Album and Abbey Road.
That's
Those
interesting.
are the two I've listened to the most in my entire life and have never gotten tired of. So that's
It's weird to have this has not changed for years, but I think it would be Abbey Road and Revolver for me.
Hey, totally respect, brother.
Like a lot of other albums have raised in my mind, like Rubber Soul, definitely, and Help, and Help has had its biggest trajectory up.
Yeah.
Since the beginning of this podcast.
Oh yeah.
But that's what I'd run with.
Okay.
Katie, did you answer that? Oh, you did.
No, Katie didn't answer. She said which two she would pick, but she didn't say which of the two big choices she would go with.
it's just really because for one, I haven't heard all of their solo careers. Like,
Yes.
I've heard more than half of Paul's, but maybe not much more than half. He's got a lot. And then, I don't know. So I guess it's like there are like 4 Paul albums and 3 John albums that I love and would love to have. And then I have more stuff, but it's hard for me to give up Abbey Road and the White Album.
Yeah. Brett, which two are you going to... You said Beatles albums, but which two?
Or you
Yeah,
said
I think-
solo, no? Or did
No,
you say Beatles?
I mean, I'd probably have to end up picking the Beatles, but I think that, yeah, either White Album or Revolver and Abbey Road is where my mind goes. Man, it's sure hard to give up any of the others, though. Like Help really does.
You know what I
come to
might
mind.
do? I might do Abbey Road and Past Masters Volume 1. So I got a little old. I mean, I'm not joking. Then I've got like I Feel Fine and She Loves You and I Want to Hold Your Hand.
Ooh, or you
Yeah.
could do Abbey Road and Love, and then you get like a bunch of tastes of.
Then
if
you
Love
dissect-
counts, that's
you-
not a Beatles album, I guess.
You
I'll
get
do
the
the
multi-tracks.
Beatles box set.
Yeah.
Beatles and Mono is your one choice?
Yeah.
I take the individual tracks of Love and then dissect them and recreate all the albums.
You
Just
do it
extrapolate.
Yeah.
with coconuts. Somehow we find Brett on an album becoming an audiophile genius. Okay, next game. Are we ready to move on? Yeah.
Yep.
Sure.
Let's do this is a fuck, marry, kill. So who's got a F
Ooh.
make F
I've got
they
one.
wanna
This is going to be
throw?
difficult. I think it might
Okay.
be difficult. Who knows?
Okay.
Because I'm going all out. All 3 of these are masterpieces. But Fuck, Marry, Kill, Strawberry Fields, Hey Jude, Something.
Oh my God. But I have an answer. But I have an
Hey
answer.
Jude.
Okay. Go
Wait,
ahead.
okay, Strawberry Fields, Hey Jude, something.
Yeah.
Wow, I know.
This is like
mine.
a death panel.
I
This
know.
is a death
I
panel.
think I
that you
know.
have to make a choice.
I think I know. Will, you know yours? Go first.
I'm doubting myself. I better just go with my first instinct. I marry something.
Whoa.
I murder Hey Jude. And I fuck Strawberry Fields.
Exactly the same
Wow.
as my answer.
That's
All right.
mine.
Yeah.
Katie and Will are united. Brett.
I'm the exact same, and I'm like,
I mean, I would hate it. When I'm
100%
strangling Hey Jude to death, I'm going to be crying. I'm going to be apologizing as I do it. Like, I feel so bad. I'll be like, I cannot explain to you the circumstances that led to this.
yeah, but
You'll
one
be-
one
Lead it
taste of
gently into the grave.
one
You'll be, like,
taste of that
singing
Strawberry
along.
Fields.
Just one more time, I'll say to it. One more time. Nah.
All right. Okay. This is we're different. We're different.
What's your answer, Joel?
This is weird. But I'd marry Strawberry Fields.
Okay. I can see that.
Just because forever, they're promising forever to you.
Yeah. No, I'm going back on this.
And
do-
if someone said it's getting hard to be someone sometimes to me, I would be like, thank you, you get me. Like, you gotta let me not be someone sometimes. So that's who you want to marry. I get it. That's not what I said, but I get it.
Yeah. And then this is. Oh, yeah, I guess I would fuck something.
That's a very
Anything.
I would
Anything at this moment.
I would call that making love. If you're
Yeah. Well, that's how I do
having
it.
sex with something,
Yeah.
that's
And then
definitely love making.
Hey Jude, I'd probably take a. That's how I would do it. Would I take a pillow?
No, it's got
We
to
all
be
wanna
merciful.
kill.
It's got to be merciful. A quick execution style bullet to the back. Hey Jude
I have to
deserves.
say though that the reason why Hey Jude was still hanging on is because I find that song endlessly. It was almost a marry for me because it's to me I always find something new in it and mysterious.
Yeah. No,
Whereas something is so direct.
I think any combination of answers I could see an argument for.
Right. But y'all, yeah.
I wanted to fuck Strawberry Fields because I saw it as kind of like an interesting sort of eccentric partner that I wouldn't want to live with forever,
totally
but I'd be so glad that I knew for like that I had this intimacy with. Like this kind of, it's like, well, this partner of mine had a lot of issues and was going through something, but I got to settle down with something like the. I'm not even talking about the lyrics of something, but like,
and you did.
And I just fucked something.
I just want to clarify that I know I said the lyrics wrong earlier, and like we could just move past.
Oh yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like, what did you were talking about Strawberry Fields?
In Strawberry Fields, it's getting hard to be someone, but it all works out.
Yeah,
that part. That's what I meant.
Yeah,
Strawberry
like
Fields.
I want to be there with that person, that song forever because of that line.
Strawberry Fields. First of all, you're kind of drugged up with it.
Yeah,
it's sort of writhing around. Like the song feels like it's kind of writhing around and going. It's like it's just more. You know, you just want to fuck that song more in the moment, but you know it's not healthy for you if you just stayed there, like for to marry it.
Mm-hmm.
Something is just very sweet, and like that's like that's like love, like a real expression of love, for your whole life.
Can I do this next F, Marry, Kill like right now?
Yeah,
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. The Beatles never existing.
Jesus.
Cancer.
Wow.
And Mr. Moonlight.
You son of a bitch.
Wait.
All right, I'm gonna have to kill cancer.
All right, that's an easy one.
I'm gonna have to fuck
I think.
Mr. Moon.
Yeah.
No. I get to fuck the Beatles never existing because I don't want to marry that. It's weird to have a negative in this.
Yeah, it's
I'm going to fuck the idea of the Beatles. I'm going to really get off. I'm going to get off on the. This is to me like jerking off in the audience of the movie Yesterday, I guess, is what this is.
Which I did 3 days.
I didn't take it out until till John Lennon showed up at the age of 80. Then I had to whip it out.
But finish it, Will. Finish it.
And then I have to marry Mr. Moon.
Yeah!
Oh, Joel trapped you.
You engineered this to. I feel like I'm in Saw. I feel like I'm in a really particular version of Saw.
Yeah.
I have a fuck, marry, kill that is, I think is going to be hard.
Okay.
I don't know. Okay. Ram,
Ooh.
Plastic Ono Band, All Things Must Pass.
Oh, that's very difficult.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's very hard.
I think I'm going to marry, if I might go first, I'm going to marry Ram. I think I'm going to marry Ram. I'm going to fuck. Ooh, shit. Fuck or kill. Fuck or kill. Fuck or kill.
I hope you're not saying this out loud on the front porch of your.
Yeah.
As I'm looking at a dog. Fuck or kill. Fuck or kill. Shit. I think I might have to kill Plastic Ono Band and ooh, it's hard because I think All Things Must Pass is overrated. Ooh, shit. This is bringing out some difficult things.
See, I have very similar answers to you.
Yeah.
I would say marry Ram, and then I'm torn, but I'm tempted to say fuck All Things Must Pass, kill Plastic Ono Band.
Yeah, I think I might go with that. I think
I think All
those
Things
are
Must
my
Pass.
answers.
it's definitely a longer fuck.
That's my answer, Katie, because even though I love Plastic Ono Band, it is like a little. I mean, we're talking about 3 incredible albums and Plastic Ono.
But keep in mind,
Plastic Ono Band is a little repetitive. It's like a little narrow,
But
sort
remember,
of.
you're fucking that last album of All Things Must Pass too, which I think almost tops. Like those jams, I think are not as. That's what makes I think All Things Must Pass like a little overrated.
It's bloated for sure.
Yeah, fucking a bloated.
But I think it has, to me, hard to say, but higher highs than Plastic. Like, there are great songs on Plastic Ono Band, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think there are just fewer on Plastic Ono Band that I, like, think of and go like, oh, hell yeah, and put it on.
Yeah.
Like,
However, the energy of Plastic Ono Band musically is more like a fuck than the other two. Like it's kind of
that's
angry.
just because it's John.
I know, but still. I might marry
very torn.
All Things Must Pass.
Whoa!
I'm going to marry All Things Must Pass because it's beautiful and it's a masterpiece.
It's a rocky finish for that marriage.
Yeah, so we have a rough third act. And then I'm going to fuck Plastic Ono Band. I'm sorry, Paul. I'm killing Ram.
Whoa! Brett.
Yeah, I feel like I know I'm marrying Ram. Like I just know that. I can't.
We all called it.
Yeah. And I think Plastic Ono Band. I think I'm fucking Plastic Ono Band and killing All Things Must Pass.
Okay, how are you going to kill All Things Must? Are you going to use
what's your
drug?
method?
Are you going to use a gun?
Oh man.
Just poison its cherry brandies.
Oh yeah. The cherry brandies.
I think maybe just because I love it, so I think like pumping it full of like sleeping pills and just having it just die peacefully into sleep, surrounded by friends and loved ones.
Does it count if I fuck it to death?
Well, I was going to say that's how I like to fuck things. Surrounded by friends and family.
Katie, I like your sociopath character.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Have we done this one yet? I have a new game.
Okay.
Oh, should we? Do you want to do another FMK? You were ready,
No.
Brett.
Oh, sorry.
Brett, I think Brett was like raring up. Did you have one you want to do?
Fuck, marry, kill. I really don't have one. You guys are blowing
Okay.
my mind. These are much better than anything I had.
Okay, mine are lame too. So let's go on to the next game. What we might come back to that. Next Beatles game. Have we done this yet? Would you rather?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did the solo catalog versus two albums.
I've got another one.
But yeah, do one.
Okay, let's do at least one so we can still satisfy the rules of this game.
Beatles 62 to 66 or Beatles 67 to 70?
Ugh, that really hurts me.
And those are the double albums.
The red and the blue album.
Yeah, the red and the blue.
Wait, one is 4 years and the other's 3?
Well, yeah, but
wait,
that doesn't mean that the length of time.
This is
Are you
the
meaning
amount of tracks.
specifically the red and blue album, those
yes.
tracks? Okay,
Yeah,
well, I
yeah.
have to look those up because I don't know what's on each of them.
I see.
Okay, I have an answer, but while you guys are looking it up and forming your opinions, this is very difficult because the blue album has like all of the modern. That's got like Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane and Across the Universe and stuff, and it's just a beautiful.
While they're looking,
album.
can I ask you, Will? Like, what's the wedding between you and Mr. Moonlight going to look like?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna make an honest man out of him. Like, I'm not, if I'm doing this, I'm gonna put my chin up and we're gonna have a go of it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. Well,
You'll
I'll
commit
have
to it. You'll have a good like.
The organ, the processional is going to be that organ solo, like when we're walking down the aisle.
Oh man, this is a hard one.
I think I would go with actually the Red album, all the early Beatlemania hits, because it's like, I think the Red and the Blue album were the first Beatles albums I actually knew when I was like 6 or something like that.
Makes sense.
And the Red album is the only place where all that Beatlemania stuff is collected in a sensible order. Like All My Lovin' is on there, and All My Lovin' is not on Past Masters Volume 1, for example. 8 Days a Week is on that Red album, but 8 Days a Week is not on Past. It's like you get this insane run of the early legend-making Beatles songs. It's a really fun listen.
Yeah, as I was thinking
And
about this, as
the
you were
Blue
talking,
album, I know, I don't know, I don't need it. Like those live in my head somehow otherwise.
I think because if it was 62 to 65, I might have a different answer, but I'm running with you on the Red album. Like the addition of the 66 stuff puts it.
Yeah, like Ticket to Ride is on there, and Yesterday is on there, and
What is the stuff from Revolver they have on it?
they have very little. I think they have Revolver is not represented well. They have just like the singles, I think. Paperback Writer and
Yes, I think it's that. It's that if Paperback Writer's on there, I'm like I have to. That tips it from
Eleanor
Thank-
Rigby.
I don't think they have anything else from Revolver on there. Do they have Taxman? They might not even have Taxman on there.
No.
They don't. Can you
They don't
tell?
have
they
Here,
have
There, and Everywhere either.
Eleanor
I think.
Rigby.
Eleanor Rigby,
Does
that's
have
right.
that.
It's a really well done collection. Like Alan Klein, I think, picked those tracks, and for all of the
And Yellow Submarine.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so it's not Revolver is not represented well compared to other
guess you're
albums,
right.
but it is an incredible collection.
Yeah, I almost lean towards Red too for some reason, but I think because I'm looking at the Blue album and
Got
I'm
old brown
seeing
shoe for some reason.
I'm seeing Old Brown. That's exactly what I was gonna say,
Yeah.
Joel. I see Old Brown Shoe there, and I'm like, nope. Like this just doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not. If
That
this
is
was,
that is the weirdest pick.
If it was selected a little bit differently, I would probably like every time go Blue.
Like Blackbird is not on the Blue album. That's like
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
strange.
If I think, it's hard, but
It's
I
hard.
think I would choose Red because it's like I am happy that every song on there is on there, and then I
Yeah.
think on Blue, I mean Old Brown Shoe, but also like. I don't love Ballad of John and Yoko. I don't love Long and Winding Road. They're just like more on there, like you were saying, Brett, where it's just like not what I would have picked from that era.
Yeah. Even Hello Goodbye, which is such a lovely song, it's not as I would rather have like You Never Give Me Your Money or something like that.
Right.
I feel like Magical Mystery Tour is surprisingly well represented on this.
Man, that Old Brown Shoe selection. I would love to just somehow get to the bottom of that. Who
I
picked
wonder if
that?
it was some weird attempt for him to throw another bone to George Harrison, but there's so many other choices. Is Guitar Gently Weeps on?
Oh, it was Alan
Yes,
Klein.
While My Guitar Gently Weeps is on there.
Did we say this? It was Alan Klein who picked the songs.
Yeah.
I believe that's true.
Yeah. Wow.
I wonder if
That's
it's a
interesting.
royalties thing because he renegotiated the royalties at one point, and Old Brown Shoe might have been like they get more money for Old Brown Shoe or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where the past masters weren't out by then, right?
No, not even close.
Yeah.
I got
Those albums came out like in 1971 or 72, and
80.
Past Masters.
Those were 73 and Past Masters was 88,
Yeah,
according to Spotify, which is where
no,
I'm
I think
looking
that's
at the
right. I think
tracks.
that's right.
I got to give it to Alan Klein, someone who's kind of been painted as like a villain type or something.
Yeah.
Like he sure picked the hell out of a playlist. Like that.
Well, I think
that Red
John's
and
argument
Blue-
for Alan Klein was always that he got the music, and I
Yeah.
think that was true. Like
There's
he
a
had
certain
good taste.
generation of us that I don't think exists anymore. That Red and Blue meant a ton to. I forget how
Right.
core that collection was for me for a long time before
Yeah.
I really felt like I was on my own and getting my own albums.
Yeah.
You know, it was just
The-
like
the influence of it is pretty profound. But I'm wondering, like at the time, we're already kind of looking at it as like I probably wouldn't have made that choice.
yeah.
Like,
Do you think it was just
if-
a business reason that we all listened to that so much, or do you think it was?
No, I think it's that Beatles Greatest Hits. It's like the number one album sold like crazy. Like
how
everybody
many
loves
at that
Beatles
time were
Greatest
there
Hits.
compilations like that?
Not of Beatles stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was.
I mean, I don't know if it was
Easy
popular. It was probably popular already to have like greatest hits or some sort of collection come out.
I'm trying
but-
to think if they had one. Did
I
they
felt
The,
like
the Beatles
past-
did not have one.
Not the Beatles,
Past-
but I'm saying like if
I
there
know.
were a Frank Sinatra's greatest
Sure.
hits,
Yes,
like
yes,
that
yeah.
model was there.
Past
yeah,
Masters serves as that a little bit, but
But it's very uneven
I
because
was
it's
sort of-
really just.
I was weirdly unaware of Past Masters or like what exactly it was for a long time.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Like,
It's
I
I
a
had
weird one.
those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I grew up with albums and Past Masters, and
Did you,
There
have
is
parents?
no-
Did you have parents like mom and dad? Were they there?
no, I was raised by CDs. Yeah, so I like missed the red and blue entirely.
Let's move on to our next category.
Okay.
Okay, this is Klaustalk.
Okay.
So we pick a topic and we have 4 Klaus Vormans discussing the topic. Does anybody have a topic they would like 4 Klaus Vormans to discuss? I don't even think
I
it
do.
has to be Beatles related, but it can.
It's not Beatles related. It's how to make the perfect BLT.
Oh, I'm glad you ask because the key is the mayonnaise.
Is it?
Yeah. The bacon is, you can whatever. You can pick some bacon that's like, just put some shit off a pig that
Klaus,
just died.
we come
It doesn't-
from Germany. We have.
I prefer a wurst on mine, not a
we
bacon.
Oh, of course, yes, but but it's not a V. It's not a VLT. It's a BLT.
you're
Say-
very right.
It's a Vorman LT,
Yeah, Vormann.
a VLT.
But sometimes I get hungry in the middle of the night. BLT is it's nice. It's just the right amount of. It's not too filling, but it hits the spot.
Like a
How do you
German,
guys-
a German brown bread, a strong German brown bread.
Yes, yeah. What do you think, Klaus?
I think that it's a wonderful snack to sustain me when I'm doing my art.
Yeah.
But it's just more, how do you make it? The perfect one.
It's the bacon, lettuce, and tomato.
Well, I just want to add, like,
Okay.
well, how do Klaus's feel about avocado?
Well, that
Well,
would
no,
add
it's
an
not-
A to
you know.
that. Would add an A. You clearly out.
Oh, it would be a blatt? Is that what you're saying? It would be a blatt?
Blot. Yeah, it's not. You know,
Well, I don't
you have
know
to.
I believe.
I don't. You know, I was hanging out with Carly Simon, and she was like, "Give me a blot," and I was like, "Carly, sit back. Try."
I thought she was talking about the bass. I thought she wanted me to play
black
something
bass.
different
Yeah, so-
somehow on the bass.
You want me to make blot sounds, and you're so I mean, hey, your song. I mean, I don't think so, but. Then I said, no, she was hungry. So I was like, hey, forget the A. Try just the BLT.
Right. Okay. So next topic on this is the order of it. Do you put
Oh, yes. No, yes.
German?
Tomato first.
You're like a soggy. You like it soggy.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to
okay.
give the tomato time to get soaking wet. And then add the lettuce for structure. Then the bread. And then you slip in the bacon.
So that's a TLB,
Wait.
I guess is what you're saying. Is
Wait, how do you add the bread third?
that is the strange thing, Klaus.
So, no, it's easy. You have tomato on the plate, right? You put the lettuce on top. You grab the plate, you hoist it in the air. The lettuce and the tomato are temporarily in the air. You snap it with the bread like a fly. And then
Wow,
you,
so modern.
and then, oh, hey, you know, I'm young at heart. You know, I like to learn new things. And then you slip the bacon at the end, like you're plugging in an electric outlet.
I lay
Gee.
my bread down like a collage,
Okay.
on the counter. I lay all ingredients, and I kind of mash them together like the revolver cover. I just
It's a collage.
a collage.
Yes, I use an X-Acto knife to cut through so that everything is the perfect shape.
I was, not many people know this, but Klaus, we were there at the beginning of the BLT.
Yes, that's right. We were in the
taking
studio.
pictures. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
all of us.
Yes.
The very first BLT, we were like friends with B.
And
And B
Sims.
invited us over and said, hey, you should come by.
And ever
It's
since-
actually not a coincidence those letters are in the name Beatles.
That's right. And ever since we have worked with B and L and T independently on our own.
They don't talk anymore, which, that's too bad. But
I
we
did
are
an album
friends.
with L. I did an album with B.
I was married to T for a little while, but, that was like, that was the drugs, unfortunately. But we're still good friends. T and I are friends.
Yeah, and that's the order.
Okay, that's the answer to that question.
Okay.
Good Klaustalk.
Klaus
Yeah.
Scene.
All right, next game. Which X is which Beatle?
I didn't understand this one.
yeah.
What are the rules of this game?
So it's kind of like which Beatles, the cast of Seinfeld, which is which Beatle.
Oh, gotcha.
Like Jerry, George, Elaine, and Kramer, which is which Beatle.
Oh, okay.
That'd
I've
be.
thought about this one for Seinfeld specifically. Do you want to do that one, or
Why don't you just do that one? I'm not ready to do that one, but
Yeah, pick.
Okay, I think that Jerry is Paul. I think.
yeah, I think you're right. I think that's right.
I think that George is. I want to say John, just because he's very passionate and he gets
Yeah, I think
real
that's
into
right.
stuff. I would say Elaine is George and Ringo is Kramer.
I can see that. I might switch Elaine and Kramer.
You think Kramer's George?
Yeah, just kind of like his own flavor, most likely to go solo, maybe the most underrated at first.
And Elaine is more lovable, I think, universally.
And Elaine's like a grounding presence that like they're all friends with at all times.
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe. I don't know.
I was thinking too that of Ringo being like a goofball and saying
I know,
like
Kramer-
that 8 days
Yeah.
a week or hard days, like his
Yeah,
silly phrases where
that's true.
everybody thinks he's weird and also everybody likes him. Because Kramer also has like 1,000 other friends on the show.
That's true. That's a good argument for that.
What about Domino's, Pizza Hut, Papa John's, and DiGiorno?
Same again?
Domino's Pizza, Pizza Hut,
Pizza.
Papa John's, and DiGiorno, the frozen pizzas.
Okay, I think DiGiorno's is George.
It's
I
kind
think
of chili.
Yeah, it feels like there's like some quality hidden in there that you don't see at first.
Underrated, overlooked.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna say Papa John's is John.
Yeah, I think so.
Because it's between that and you said Pizza Hut, Domino's, and
Pizza Hut. To me, Pizza Hut and Domino's are John and Paul. There's
No, you're right.
wow.
You're right.
yeah.
So Paul is
which.
Paul is Domino's and John is Pizza Hut.
And then maybe
maybe-
Papa John's.
Ringo's Papa John's.
Oh,
Paul is Domino's. John is Pizza Hut. Ringo is Papa John's, and George is DiGiorno.
I think Ringo is Pizza Hut.
interesting.
He's just like not gonna. Like, I'm not gonna go to Pizza Hut. Really, like I'm not gonna get Pizza Hut. I'm just like, but like it's kind of interesting sometimes. Like if you're at a party and Pizza Hut is there, you're like, oh yeah.
And
It
a
has
group of
that
you might be
certain
like, let's go to
taste.
Pizza Hut. Like,
Yeah,
yes,
in a
it's like, if you
group,
guys are
yeah.
gonna go, I'll go.
Like Domino's and Papa John's are like gonna be. Domino's is probably John. Papa John's is Paul. I don't know why.
Wow.
Here's my thing.
But
I think
DiGiorno as George is a good call.
I don't like Papa John's pizza.
I don't
So-
like that monster of a man that owns it too.
Neither do
Well,
I.
there's
That's
that.
coloring. Yeah.
But I wonder, okay, does it work for Paul to be Domino's because
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
like in the 80s when everybody was like, Jesus Christ, Paul,
Yeah.
you're lame, you're an old guy, no one likes you. And he kind of like had to reinvent himself. Like
Yeah.
how Domino's was like, we get it, it's bad, we changed everything, please try again. And that's
Yeah.
good now.
Yeah. I think that's a good point. Domino's had that weird mascot for a while too. That was very
The
annoying.
Noid.
Annoyed. Yeah.
The Noid, which
the
is
Noid
kinda,
is like press to play.
that's
The
like
Noid is
that's like Paul, in his most obnoxious Paul. Like people are like do 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 do, like in all
Oh, wait,
the interviews.
I meant to bring up that I loved so much that email you shared with us that someone in Sweden talked about
Oh, yeah.
that bird that I said was Paul. And they were like, everyone in Sweden knows this bird.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's. I'll look that up.
I think John's Pizza Hut because the Pizza Hut, I feel like you can just see that the like logo, the red shape. It's not quite a trapezoid, whatever it is. Or like, I feel like that. And then like you can see the little self-portrait kind of doodle of John Lennon. And I just feel like they're kind of iconic things that everybody recognizes, even if they don't engage directly with them.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
Like if
see
you,
that.
you know what I mean? Like
think
everybody
it
knows
really-
what John Lennon looks like.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it really matters like which pizza you consider good in this.
Yeah.
It's like
Yes, because
Like-
these are all kind of like fast foody sort of.
yeah. I feel like we might disagree on just like which pizza to order sometimes,
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
the image of them, like the initial
Yeah.
thought,
Yeah.
might be a safer way to kind of, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
complicated.
Huh?
I mean, this is one of the most complicated questions we've ever tackled.
And I just want to say I want
never
to
seen
clear up what Katie was talking about. Last episode, was it last episode or 2 episodes ago? We mentioned how Katie saw this Donald Duck cartoon that has this really annoying bird, and it reminds us of Paul McCartney in his annoying mode
In Let It Be.
In
particular.
Let It Be.
Oh
yeah.
yes.
in Let It Be, when he's just like really trying to make it work for the cameras. And then I got an email from Nils Mattsson from Sweden. The subject line is "Greetings from Sweden." (parentheses). We all know that bird. Close parentheses.
I should point out that his English is better than mine.
Oh yeah, you would have no idea that this is a guy who's writing in his second language. But I guess everybody watches Donald Duck on Christmas Eve, and that is a Donald Duck cartoon that Katie's talking about. So that bird is like everybody watches it. Everybody ends up seeing him on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, like I saw it in. I think he's in it both Saludos Amigos and Three Caballeros, which are like Disney movies, but they're kind of made up a little. It's like wartime ones, so they're like
Yeah.
not full
This is
features.
when you were raised by CDs.
Yeah, inside the Disney vault.
If this guy's English is so good, can we ask him how to properly use the word felch in a sentence?
I'll throw it back at him. See what he says to that.
Yeah, that's all you write.
Yeah.
I don't even say thanks or for that. I just how do you use the word felch?
Yeah.
He's like, what's going on? What did I do? Should we move on to our next one?
Sure.
We have another listener question.
Oh, great.
Okay. This is from Stefan or Steven. I'm sorry you've been dealing with this all your life. Aguilar, what track would you like to be a fly on the wall as it's being recorded?
Oh, great question.
Wow.
Great question.
Stefan. I would like to, gosh.
Step ahead.
Man, that's fun. Okay, I got it. I'd like to be a fly on the wall for Everybody's Got Something to Hide except for Me and My Monkey.
Wow.
Because it just sounds like they're having fun. Like they're just like, they're not trying to write a single.
Yeah.
It's fun. It has a lot to do with, it's a simple architecture, but they're doing a lot with it. They're just probably really enjoying it. I just feel like that would be a joyful room. I think that would be a really fun one to be in the room for.
I think the basic track for the medley, I think I'd like to be.
Oh, that's a good one.
In Abbey Road, the big, when they're all there, they're all working together, they're all trying to get it done. And there's audio of it. Maybe that's what I want. I want to see the whole thing though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
added to every other track, I want to say.
Right.
I want to be a fly on the wall on every other.
Of course.
in the world. Yeah.
There's something about the Abbey Road sessions I'm fascinated with because I feel like they're not. You don't get to see them much anywhere. Like there's something very mysterious about it to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Where like there was all these problems, but then suddenly the album sounds and feels like all the problems went away miraculously, and it's just like this perfect album. I'm just fascinated by those sessions and what that must have been like. But there's also like throwing it out there, the like Your Blues recording when they're all in a closet. Weren't they all? They were all in a small room.
They went to the tape vault or something like that.
Yeah, all recording that at once. That would obviously be fun.
And then also like I Feel Fine, like I Feel Fine, like just seeing them just tear out a song like that.
It's so hard. They're trying to make a single. They're all showing up ready to do work, be at the top of their game.
I think
Twist and Shout would be fun to watch.
I think I'm most interested in the craft and like the boring, tedious craftsmanship stuff, like in the really psychedelic production choices and all that stuff, because everything is so biased towards showing you their personalities and entertaining moments and stuff. And I always hear the most mystery and interesting stuff in just like those songs, like, Strawberry Fields or whatever, that just sounds like a different world. Just like just seeing them really talk that out and discover that would be where I would want to be.
I think I would any of them where it's like, I feel like I would maybe make a different choice if I was focused on watching them, but I think it would be interesting to be a fly on the wall for like Day in the Life when they're recording with like an orchestra and Paul's describing like, okay, you're all going to go up, but don't be on the same pitch as the person next to you. Like that kind of thing. Just like watching those musicians react to Paul. Like I'm just so curious if they were all like into it or if they were like, what the fuck is this guy talking,
Yeah. That's a really good choice.
Or like I'm sure people who listen to this know their names, but whoever were like the string players that they got for like Eleanor Rigby or Yesterday or something where it's like, are they used to coming into a studio with a band like the Beatles? Probably not. Like, I think it's interesting to watch people from outside kind of have to join the Beatles deal.
Yeah. Right.
I would love to also just after they were done recording, everyone's so focused on those recording sessions, but like when they just went to the pub afterwards or whatever, it's like that stuff feels very like lost in history. Like only they know the random stuff they were talking about in those moments.
Yeah, like when they finished recording Hard Day's Night, do they go to the pub and they're like, that was good?
Yeah.
Like, what
anybody want to buy us a drink? Because we just did something incredible.
that song was pretty good, right? Like,
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, I would love to see the guard down kind of just like, holy shit, we're good thing. Because they always play it so cool and everything else, you know? Like anything public facing, they're playing very cool.
I wonder if like after Twist and Shout, when John laid down his first vocal, if he finished and they were like, fuck, god damn, you crushed it. Like you crushed it. I wonder, you know?
I feel like they're also, I feel like it's just a very British thing where I don't know if they would ever, how emphatic they would get like to each other. Like it's almost too intimate or something to say directly that much of a compliment.
I would love to see the looks on John and Paul writing sessions when they were face to face, best friends writing together, just to see those moments, those aha moments would be like, I could just die after that.
Oh, the circle jerk too.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's what I meant.
I would want to watch them circle jerk, of course, but then also, right? I
to be
want
a fly on the wall. To be a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
Okay, would you rather be a fly on the wall for a Beatles recording session or sneeze and fart at the same time?
Sneeze and fart. It's an easy choice.
Okay, great.
I think we should. I think we could wrap it up, and maybe we just do one more listener question because I think we solicited so many, and maybe we should even maybe just do a whole episode of those at some point. I don't know, but let's at least get one more of those, and then we'll wrap it up. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
What about the funniest Beatles song?
I like it. I like it. Funniest Beatles song.
I think I've got one.
You Know My Name.
Yes, that's definitely funny. You know, somebody
Maybe too funny, trying too hard.
Somebody who's not that much of a Beatles fan and not that much of a John Lennon fan. I was talking with them, and she was like, he seems, and she admitted, hey, I'm not that familiar with lots of his stuff, but he seems kind of humorless about himself. And I think of John as so funny,
and
but he doesn't.
Irreverent. Yeah, he's pretty irreverent in general.
But he's not like his music and his songs do not carry with them this like, you know, he's swagger. He's not self-effacing. He's not really, he is vulnerable, of course, because he's so emotional, and it is funny to try. They were so funny, but were their songs ever funny?
I think One After 909 might be just a funny, to actually witness it happen, like the story of going down to the station, deciding it's the wrong station.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then he gets back and he's like, well, oh shit, no, I had the number wrong. And then he goes back. And that's all the song is about.
That is funny.
I never thought about that. There's a very dry humor story in there. I think Honey Pie is kind of a funny song. I know it's not comedic, but like its existence and John playing that guitar solo and
Savoy Truffle.
In the middle of 68, like Summer of Love, to do She Was a Working Girl, lost the USA. Like that's now she's hit the big time. It's kind of funny. I don't know.
George was like explicitly funny. Like Taxman is funny. Yeah, like he's basically telling jokes.
I don't know if it's necessarily funny, but I feel like All Together Now or something that's like a kid's song almost.
Yeah. It's like manic, you know, it's like manic silliness.
Or in Hey Bulldog when they just all start barking. I don't know.
Hey Bulldog might be that's a contender for me.
When they all start barking is a very funny moment. Across the Universe is the funniest song.
It's gotten me kind of like off thinking that idea of John being able to laugh at himself. I'm just trying to think. It's like he is self-effacing, but only in a very dramatic way. Like on his solo albums, it's more like serious. Whereas Paul,
he rarely does it. Like he makes fun of everybody else, not himself.
Yeah, but Paul, or he's tearing himself down, like Jealous Guy or something like that. But that's like melodramatic. It's melodramatic, attention getting. Whereas Paul is sort of like, yeah, I just write silly love songs, don't I? You know, do. Like he can sort of laugh at his own style a little bit. I don't have instant recall of all the solo John Lennon stuff, and I wonder if on Mind Games, Walls and Bridges, I think he was kind of chill a little bit, and maybe even on Double Fantasy, he's starting to, he's turning 40. Mm-hmm. I mean, about to be cut short, but
he was starting to. I think the birth of Sean like mellowed him. That's another tragedy. I feel like if we saw John grow older, we might have seen a chiller John Lennon.
That was one of the topics. Maybe we
what
could
the Beatles would do differently.
Visit quickly, like regrets or something. My biggest one I expressed to you guys.
Let's announce it as a game. We had a game which is like, if you could make the Beatles do one thing differently, what would it be? That's what this is. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brett.
My thing was thinking back to the opportunities they had, not just like total fantasy thinking, but like John Lennon and Harry Nilsson. I wish that they made albums together. I think that would have been it almost hurts
recorded together,
recorded albums.
Because John produced a Harry Nilsson album, but you mean like the two of them release an album together?
Wrote like John and Paul style. Because I really think if you listen back to Harry Nilsson's stuff, I can't even think of a better Paul replacement for John. Like I don't know. I could just see them creating unbelievable stuff together and singing incredibly well together. And it's mind blowing to me that they spent so much time together, partying, being great friends, and never really, we don't get to hear that. That's a huge that hurts to think about to me.
This is such a corny one, but I wish they had gotten all like therapy in the middle of their Beatlemania or at their peak or right before drugs. Acid came into. And I know,
like if instead of going to India, they went to therapy.
Yeah, and I'm thinking like more like current therapy as opposed to the therapy at the time.
Yeah.
Not that I know much about it. It might be not that different, but just so they can manage it, and also as individuals, so they wouldn't take it out on each other so much. And because I say that also with a little worry that it would affect the music, but I don't really think it would. I think the music was always going to be, it would alter it, but I think it would, it's not like it would take away their edge. I think it would just make them happier people.
Just like practicing interpersonal skills, even if not addressing each of their own deep whatevers.
Yeah, that would be the benefit for sure.
We all agree. I mean, I felt like it was off the table to say, you know, I wish they didn't break up. Like it feels like that's the number one.
It feels like it's got to be a smaller.
It's got to be a smaller, like specific.
We're not giving you enough wish power to make that big a change.
Mine was that they just never stop wearing all leather.
The whole time they never give it up.
Imagine how that affects the Abbey Road cover.
Even solo, like today, you'd see Paul McCartney on tour and he comes out head to toe black leather.
Yeah, dark blue leather pants, a white leather button down. It just looks like
it took Judas Priest to really open that door. I think.
Yeah. I wish they all came out on Harleys whenever they would play concerts. Did you guys watch that Jimmy Nicol performance?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, no, I haven't yet.
Oh, I sent it to you. Sorry.
I saw it. I just haven't watched it yet.
We're in the middle of a podcast. Why did I thought we were hanging out just for a second there.
You guys get any other good texts lately?
Will, what's your thought here?
Oh, it's not as good or as interesting as yours, but mine would be that
if it would be called Abbey Load.
There should be Abbey Load. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Abby Chode.
Oh.
Abby Chode and Abbey Load.
And Felch, the second
Felch,
movie.
yeah. Sergeant
And
Pepper's.
D's Nuts. So, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club D's Nuts.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was yours, Will?
Mine was that they instead of crediting songs to Lennon McCartney, they would credit every single original to Lennon McCartney Harrison Starr. And never reveal, at least credit wise. And because I have this sort, I think money wise they could split it differently.
Yeah,
but I think the egos split them up. And if they had, I'm thinking about REM.
Yeah,
like REM, we don't know.
Oh.
As a casual fan, you don't know who writes what or where the songs start. It's just like REM is a black box, and these great songs come out of them. I'm sure the actual process is quite different than that. But I think something like that would have served the Beatles well. I mean, they would still say in interviews, "Oh, yesterday that's Paul McCartney did that all by himself." But Even Ringo, if they had to take their egos out of songwriting credit, and they could split the money differently.
Yeah.
So that it's
Queen
because of the
actually did that for their last 2 studio albums. Their peak of success was earlier, where they were all individually writing. But I remember them saying that they were like sort of going, I can't believe we should have done this so long ago, because it makes things so much easier. But they were living proof of having done both and having reaped the benefits of it.
I remember hearing like that for And I Love Her, that Paul wrote that song and it's a Lennon McCartney credited song. But then George actually wrote the bum, 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 bum. Like he added that little guitar riff.
Yeah.
And to me, that's like, that's a huge part of that song. That's like the main riff of the song. Like, and what if they were all getting credit all the time? So George was constantly motivated to do that and even had sort of permission because his name's on it.
And let's not forget John Lennon was on all the snaps during Here, There, and Everywhere.
I just think given their ego problems, I feel like that might have been the thing that created a culture of like, we're all in this together permanently.
It's tough. Like
Group
I imagine
ownership.
it's tough in the moment being them like young and still feeling it out. Even with like Queen, like you could only be Queen, late period Queen, and think like, okay, all of these members have proven themselves to me.
Yeah.
There's like a trust to be, because before that, it's like being the guy who's like doing a class project with a group and shouldering all of it and being like, I don't like that kid doesn't deserve credit. Like I did all the work, you know. It's like, you have to feel that way.
I'm counting on them. They really were like best friends for a long time.
Yeah.
And it really was all 4 of them. Even Ringo, who was the least important songwriter of the group, it just doesn't work without Ringo. You got to have them all.
I bet.
I thought about maybe it should be Lennon, McCartney, Harrison as a songwriting credit, but if then Ringo's going to get kicked out of the group. It's got to be all 4 of them, like locked in.
I do wish that they did more. They obviously worked themselves to the bone the whole time, so it's hard to say like, oh, you should have done more. But like, I just do wish that there was more songwriting collaborations. Like I want to hear John and George sit down and write a song together.
What would that be?
I want to hear them sing more songs together. Like I want to hear like
George Martin and
Keith Richards like join like a writing session with, you know what I mean? Just more. They were all so much hanging out together in the same rooms, but just fixated on their narrow.
Well, I
roots.
think that if my recollection of Tune In is correct, just that, you know, how they established the Lennon McCartney songwriting credits and like their just kind of the paperwork for that was done so early in the process that for John and Paul, they were like, well, yeah, we are writing the songs and good, we get extra money. But it was like they had no idea that they would be successful to the degree that they were, and where if they were splitting that money 4 ways, they would still be fucking millionaires. So
right.
I think it's a combination of them being young, but also just like that was established so early in the process.
Right.
Like, I think if around, like, let's say starting at Rubber Soul, it's all 4 of them credited.
After Brian Epstein dies, they start splitting the writing credit as a way to unite themselves. They don't have Brian anymore to unite them. So, because then also they are a huge success, and George is starting to establish himself a lot.
But you're going to such a huge hypothetical that it doesn't.
Yeah,
it's pointless to try to defend why they didn't, because it was such a different time.
Yeah,
but
of course,
I think you're right. I think if we had known, you know, if they had all known, that would have been an excellent choice for them to do that at the beginning. But like Brett pointed out, they were just in their 20s, and the music business didn't exist as it eventually became to be.
Here's one. I wish that they got just jacked, like just super buff. Just what if the Beatles were just like, you know, rippled muscles?
Then the Beatles entered their muscles period.
Where they were just
in their early 30s. They were shirtless and oiled up and just like.
I think the other
that would be so much to deal with, you know, like the music being the best ever, and they're just ripped.
That iconic picture of 4 fucking juice dudes crossing the street.
Yeah.
The Fit Four. I did like the second choice was a weird. I couldn't really position it, but it was them starting to tour again after a shorter break. And it was sort of based on what Paul wanted with Let It Be.
Yeah.
It was if everybody had been on board, for them to just start playing clubs again, I think that would have been, and maybe that's what's connected to then I went back, they sort of retrofitted, and I said, oh, that's the therapy thing, that they would have been able to kind of manage their own personalities with everybody a little bit better, and then that would have been more possible.
Well, I had a similar one to that where, like, not necessarily touring or figuring that out, but, like, even if they did a show, like, let's say something like at the Hollywood Bowl with the LA Phil, like, have an orchestra, have whoever you need to be like, we're going to figure out how to play songs from Sgt. Pepper live. Right. Or we're going to figure out how to play any of Abbey Road. I mean, I know they were broken up, but
Yeah.
Just because I'm curious to hear how they would have arranged that.
I do think that playing live would have healed a lot somehow, just because they were never bad when they played together.
I'm curious.
I mean, I guess Paul figured out some of the arrangements.
Yeah, Paul. I mean, Paul's arrangement is really not artificial. Like he's just using a band, like a pretty minimalist rock band, and it's incredible to hear that late period stuff. You realize, oh, it still works brilliantly as live music. I do wonder, like, if they kept touring, especially in the late 60s, like heading into the 70s, if they would have you would have heard a few more, like, just like really heavy Helter Skelter type of stuff. Like they would have discovered more live energy, sort of blockbuster, like, Zeppelin style, like arena songs. It's just
for sure. I mean, when Joel and I, and Brett, you were there when we saw Paul McCartney this summer, the Wings stuff rocks a stadium. Like he designed it to play in arenas, and the Beatles didn't necessarily have that opportunity. So, but by the time he was with Wings, he's like, well, I know what it feels like to be in front of 35,000 people. I'm going to write a song that works there. And I think the Beatles would have done that too.
Oh, sorry, Will.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Oh no, my internet connection is unstable. Well, I'm recording my own, so I'll send it.
Still hear you perfect.
What if they had done, like, they decide they want to break up, they want to do their own stuff. I know it's too much to ask that they don't break up, but what if they did, like, a speaker box Love Below kind of arrangement where they released, like, a 4-disc set, and each disc is, like, a solo album from each of them.
Oh, that's interesting. Wow. But it's all under a Beatles umbrella.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun.
Beatlebrella.
That could solve their, one disc of All Things Must Pass, Plastic Ono Band plus Cold Turkey and Instant Karma, Ram plus Maybe I'm Amazed. Sounded pretty good to me.
Yeah.
And then whatever Ringo does.
And whatever the fuck Ringo does.
Hey, lady, I love you.
Hey, little girl.
Hey, little girl.
Okay, now let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for listening, everybody, if anybody is still listening. And maybe we'll do this again. The pandemic is a terrible thing, but it has brought this podcast back, and that's kind of fun. So
Thank you for your questions.
Thanks so much for the questions. I'm sorry we didn't get to more of it. Maybe we'll do a proper listener question episode where we get to a number of them.
Dankeschön, Klaus.
Dankeschön.
Yes, Dankeschön. Goodbye. Yes. Hello. See you later.
Hello,
How do you say goodbye in German?
Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen. Green sleeves. The sound of music. Goodbye, everybody. I'm Will Hines.
I'm Joel Spence.
I'm Katie Plattner.
I'm Brett Morris.
See you guys another time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Screw it, we're just gonna talk about the Beatles.